Welcome back, everyone. Not a joking matter. It's a matter of life and death in Rivers State. The Rivers election has increased the already tense political atmosphere. If you know the history of that state in the recent past, you will understand what I mean, of course. Security is a major factor. We dissect the issues thrown up by the situation. A retired Nigerian military officer with a huge intelligence training, Captain Umar Ali, has been talking to us. Let's continue our conversation, shall we? We look at some of the very unpleasant scenario playing out and the information coming out. For example, the story of the allegations of stockpiling of arms. How true can that be? Can a political party be stockpiling arms ahead of an election?
Allegations, as you called them, how true can that be? It's just as true as the person makes it. If you had information, credible information that people are stockpiling arms, you jump the cat by just coming out to shout about it if you do not have your facts straight. This is where party intelligence comes in. If I was a party security chieftain and you told me people were stockpiling arms, I'm not going to be reactionary. I will be responsive. Responsive simply means I'm going to preempt the situation. I'm going to preempt the situation. I'm going to follow it right through. I'm not going to disrupt it. And when it is key, I'm going to give it to the public straight, as in straight, because we know what stockpiling arms and ammunitions anywhere except in the armed forces and the police in this country means.
Okay, if you, I mean, look at this, Captain Aliyu. This is some of the information. A corps member that was killed in the last conduct of this exercise. 4 people, 33 arrests were said to be made. 4 people were said to be killed. An NYC corps member, innocent boy, serving a compulsory 1 year service there, also said to have been killed. 1 election observer said to be missing that time. 10 results declared at that time, and series of incidents, very interesting ones that led to the postponement of this election almost a year or more now. This election has been hanging, but one we wonder, for example, do you think that the military should be called into this election?
Not necessarily. I refuse to accept that our police force and other sister agencies cannot close this job successfully. The reason why they are not being able to do so is we've had enough baptism. If you look at elections anywhere in this country, including Rivers, it's the same old tricks, the same recurrent problems. These tricks, these nuances are even begging to expire. But if you look at the side of the parties and the law enforcement agencies, they don't seem to be getting wiser. The law enforcement agencies cannot actually protect you much beyond what they know of your grounds. Whatever you see happen within any scenario is not just surprise. The indicators are always there if you have the sensors, if you have the right facility to actually glean off the indicators as they occur. Let me tell you something about the poor youth copper who died. I was in these studios during the 2015 elections, and at a point in time I was trying to manage scenarios and situations for coppers out there. There has to be a toolkit, a security threat awareness toolkit, and every copper will be inducted, and the coppers will know their lines and their contact persons, and even the parents and words of the coppers should know whom do I call at any time T that has ownership of the safety of my child.
There are even stories of some of these corps members refusing to turn up for these election. I mean, there are stories that we're hearing that some of them are reluctant to be part of these exercises, and they're the major ad hoc officials being used for these exercises.
That wouldn't be unusual given the antecedents on ground. It's actually diluting the confidence any young Nigerian will have to serve. Now, what are we talking about here? What we are simply talking about is, take INEC, for example. INEC is supposed to be, as far as elections, security and organization is concerned, an itinerant body. Security is not fixed, it's evolving. Now, let's assume we decided to take the Rivers-rerun as a project that has to be closed to budget, to specification, and to time. Before the project starts, what's your project timeline? Look, what you see on election day is just a testimony of a badly organized scenario. on both party sides, and some INEC is caught in the middle.
When you say that the military should not be called, I've seen scenario where even in this Rivers state and Bayelsa states where I've had to travel over the waterways to see for myself and cover the elections there, I've seen that the military are always at the perimeter. In this scenario, the police have said there will be a restriction of movement. This kind of measures that you think should be put in place?
No. The measures that are put in place, ex-military involvement now.
Really? You think military should not be at
No, let me tell you something. For one, I'm no longer in the force, but inside I'm still pretty much a soldier. If you tell me to move my boys or my troop out to babysit elections, if I could put it that way, then you should also be ready to give up certain rights. Yes.
Because the terms of engagement of a soldier is different from a civil one.
Absolutely.
It's not really civil.
Absolutely. So you don't bring soldiers in to come and do something which our policemen ordinarily should be able to do. And then when it comes to the parties, the political parties, both sides of the divide, that is the ruling party and the opposition, I do not really see a will among both of them to do it right. Each one is ego-driven.
Psychologically, what do you think makes the people of Rivers State or election in Rivers State a difficult one to conduct in terms of security, for example?
Psychologically, is a national malaise, but it seems to be very intensive in Rivers. Rivers State's people tend to vote with their hearts and not with their heads. And when you go to the polling booth with your heart and leave your head at home, people will give you 500 naira and you're going to end up very dead, and they will be in same offices and not even take care of the things they said they would. So those who die during elections die in vain.
Before we close, Captain Ali, you are the expert here. I'm just a security illiterate as I sit here. But, I mean, you will tell us and advise our viewers. Some of them who will go on that day to vote. Some of them will be observers. Some of them will be ad hoc officials, innocent Nigerians that will be going out there on that election day. What should they be looking out for?
Simple and very
to come back home safe.
Simple and very straightforward. Security threat awareness as opposed to security consciousness. If anybody tells you be security conscious, please ask him how. You can't be security conscious until you know what the threats are. So it's security threat awareness the law enforcement agencies should be talking about. And what are the security threat awareness tips I want to give Nigerians in Rivers State? We all know what happens when trouble is about to start. If it has started after you have voted, then you are wrong. What are you still doing there? If it's about to start and you see the signs, move away. But one thing I keep saying is, for God's sakes, go there and vote with your heads, not with your hearts.
That's a very good advice. And on that note, very good lesson and a very good place to put it. Many thanks, Captain Aliyu, for coming on the program. It was always a pleasure to have you. I feel secured having you around. Well, you should feel secured wherever you are voting on that day if you vote with your head and not your heart. That's our program tonight. Many thanks for being part of it. On behalf of the team, I'm sure Bye for now.